Felicity, that was terrific. This is actually a good news session, and it's great to hear good news, isn't it, to see what BIC has been doing in relation to employment issues. And the circumstances I'm going to talk to you about is a very similar type of circumstance. This productivity leadership program was an initiative of the previous government. Funds were given to the then DEWA, the Department of Education, Employment and Workplace Relations, which is now the Department of Employment. Funds were given through to ACCI. BIC is a member of the Australian Chamber of Commerce and Industry, and BIC was able to secure funding to undertake a series of programs, their productivity programs, to improve productivity within the workplace. And obviously that initiative with the seminar and the role that Felicity did was a very positive thing in our industry. By introducing more of the women into our industry, it will make us certainly more productive. So where APTIA has got involved is through a health and wellbeing program. We have on our website a national IR and work health and safety guide. We're in the throes of actually producing a second edition of that, and we got funding for that. Part of that guide will incorporate a health and wellbeing project. This project has been outlined to you before. APTIA is very fortunate to have some strategic partners in Piper Alderman. It was remiss of me not to thank Piper Alderman Solicitors for being one of our strategic partners and providing us with all sorts of support during any 1 year. And of course we recommend our operators who need that sort of legal advice to Piper Alderman. But we also have a rehabilitation provider in a company called the Interact Group. Nikki Brewers was at our conference last year where she outlined the first part of our health and wellbeing kit. That health and wellbeing kit was looking at the actual health and wellbeing of our workforce, and one of the slides that she would have put up was this: why bother? Why are we bothering with it? And we are bothering with it because statistics show clearly that a healthy employee is 3 times more effective than a less healthy one, and that you can get up to 143 effective hours out of a healthy person than 49 hours out of a less effective person. And I think there would be nobody here that would doubt that a happy, healthy, motivated, safe workforce is one that's going to respond to you. And I've been fortunate in our industry to actually be associated with companies that do have that healthy, happy, motivated workforce. We did a survey about 2 years ago in 2012, and those operators who are members of BIC all supported the survey. The entrants, Redbus, who are here today, Transit Australia, who you know well, the Australian Transit Group from Western Australia, Benny Doolan, Greyhound, bus lines with Frank and the Ferrises. We had involvement with the Transport Workers Union because at the end of the day you've got to take the employee groups with you on these journeys, and BIC and Bus New South Wales were also part of it. We did a comprehensive survey and we did get some comprehensive results, and whilst today I don't want to talk about the results, and that's a little bit hard to see on the screen, but basically it noted that 18.4% of those that were surveyed indicated that they'd had some sort of bullying and harassment in their workplace, and I reckon that's probably about right. 14.8% actually said they had been the subject of some sort of assault, and certainly if you look at the trade unions statistics, which would be probably higher, that 14.8% is probably correct. In the survey, which is not up on that slide, 37.5% of the drivers said they'd experienced anger, and at least 12% of them said they'd had hostility levelled towards them. So, following from that survey, recommendations were made to APTIA as to what should happen, and what the recommendations were was that it was important matching any intervention to the workplaces and the workplace cultures. In other words, what the Interact Group said was, OK, we've now got these stats, we really know what these stats were going to show, it's just confirmed what we knew, how do we actually address them? And the way that they sought to address them was to actually go into the workplace. and they also indicated that it was important to empower your drivers in this process. There's no point you as management trying to come up with solutions without having your drivers go along with you. And so what happened was I needed a bus company that would go along with this process, because it does take time and it does interfere with the normal running of their business. And Forest Coach Lines stepped up to the mark. They're an operation, for those who don't know, in the northern side of Sydney with about 160 employees, run about 120 buses. So they're sort of medium Sydney size type of bus company. So the Interact Group sent their representatives. They travelled on the buses with them. They ate with them in their staff rooms, and they came up with what were conceived as practical steps to try to get this process going. And the whole idea was to try and create this happier, healthier, more motivated workforce by initiatives that the drivers and first of all, the drivers had to indicate what they thought they wanted, but also management, taking into account these things have a cost, management had to be prepared to go along with them. The process is that there is a 6-month trial being undertaken at the moment, and at the moment that trial is going along great guns, and at the end of the 6 months we will be able to assess the success or otherwise of it. What we got all the Forest Coach employees, remember they've got about 160, of which about 100 are sort of permanent casuals and permanents. Of those 100 employees, something like 95 of the employees filled out the survey. So the control test will be looking at the survey back then in July and then looking at the survey in December, and the intention is for us, Aptia, to launch its health and wellbeing kit in March at its national seminar in Canberra, which you'll all get wind of and invitations to, and I hope that some or all of you can come to them. So I just want to briefly just let you know the types of things that's going on there in Forest Coach Lines. As a means of trying to get people to be a little bit more active and walk more, they bought a whole range of pedometers. Pedometers are these things that you wear on your wrist and so forth, where you actually can wear them for a week or so, and the way these pedometers work, you just set up a system on your computer at work which automatically, when the pedometer goes near the computer, it registers how far you're travelling. So the drivers are participating by using the pedometers to see how much they are walking in any one day, and then seeing whether there's progression to more walking. And the way Forest management have done it is that there's a sort of a prize at the end of the day for those that sort of meet the highest percentage increase. So the whole idea is to give an incentive for them to actually do more exercise. The fruit box is pretty simple. You know, there's a fruiterer next door in their case, and twice a week a fruit box is placed in the staff room where staff can actually take a piece of fruit, take it with them on the bus, take it wherever they need to take it, but that's available to them. They're just small things, but what I can say to you, because my office is actually in Forest Coach Lines when I'm in Sydney, the positive impact that this is having on their workforce is significant, and it's just these little things. The discounted meal one is fairly simple. What they have done is they've gone out to a lot of the destinations where their drivers get to their halfway point or their meal point, and they've negotiated with various outlets to provide cheaper lunches for healthier food to encourage the drivers. So the drivers then get a menu, they know exactly what they can get, what price they're going to pay to encourage them. Instead of when they get there to have a battered sav or some fish and chips, they might get a salad roll at half the price. So that's the discounted meals section. They've got a resident physiotherapist, and in every circumstance in your depot, it's not hard to find a local physio who's looking for work. So this physio comes into the depot at least once a week, provides some tips on their notice board and to any drivers that want consultation with the physio, and then that physio is available for those drivers if they need or have any ergonomic issues with their driving. This is all about keeping them at work, or if they go off work, to get them back to work quicker. One of the bigger issues that Forest are trialling are these employment assistance providers. This is a modern employment technique where individual companies provide assistance. So in Forest's case, a driver who's struggling, it could be for any number of reasons. It could be home life, it could be their mental health, it could be alcohol related, it could be a matter relating to somebody at work, it could be a myriad of things. That drivers are permitted to ring a number in which they get free counselling. The company pays for that free counselling. The company has the ability to control that free counselling. The company does not get individual results from that counselling, but what the company does each month, it gets a report from the EAP to advise them that there appears to be a bullying problem in the company, or there appears to be a couple of drivers who are struggling badly without names and so forth. So the company has a way in which they can address that as well. EAPs are a modern form of employment law, and particularly for the bigger companies, they are of significant benefit when all of these issues of bullying, harassment, unfair dismissals and adverse action against you, if you're taking positive, proactive steps for your workforce, you're miles in front of the system when it comes time for you to defend these matters. The other thing they're doing at Forest is every employee is undertaking bullying and harassment training, and they take it in the boardroom opposite me, and they've been running them systematically each week with about 10 employees at a time, and they're all coming out feeling so much better about how their system works and how you can address this bullying and harassment than if they haven't had it. The final thing they're doing, of course, is the notice board. The health notice board in their staff room is of great significance, because on there goes all of the notifications for the EAP, all of the notifications for when the training's on, all of the health tips, all of the discounted meal tips and so forth. So ultimately this will be a report that will come out for the industry, and it'll be something that APTIA will be endorsing for the industry. So the outcomes are fairly simple there. The completion of an industry health and wellbeing kit, which will provide benefits to employees and hopefully greater efficiency in the workplace. It'll be a model from which the industry can benefit and adapt to the special circumstances of their workplace, and it's an effective conclusion to the BIC-ACCI Productivity Leadership Grant, which will be launched at our national seminar in 2015. I'd be happy to discuss any of that with operators over the fullness of time if they want to sort of know a little bit more about it as we progress down the line. Thanks, Chris.